My name is Lance Evans. I'm the superintendent in the New Albany School District. I would like to thank you for joining us here on WTVA every Tuesday and Thursday from 9:30 to 10. We started our virtual school journey on March the 18th, and over the course of the last couple of weeks, we've made several adjustments to ensure that we're meeting all the educational needs of our students. Today with me, I have Ms. Pannell and Ms. Harding, who are both math teachers at New Albany High School. They'll be helping you with some ACT math tips. To my right, I have Ms. Hefner from the New Albany Middle School, and she'll be doing some very interesting and fun things with coding. Also, make sure that you stay tuned in afterwards for Mr. Robert Garrett, who will be delivering his daily tech tips. And now, we'll go ahead and begin with Ms. Pannell and Ms. Harding.
Good morning. My name is Sandra Pannell.
And my name is Lydia Harding.
We're math teachers at New Albany High School, and we're here to help alleviate the stress of the ACT math portion with some tips and strategies. First, let's look at the format of the test. The math section of the test is divided into 60 questions, and you're given 60 minutes in which to complete the test. That means you have 1 minute per question. The breakdown of the test is divided into 3 categories. Algebra consists of 23 questions. They range anywhere from 7th grade math to Algebra 2. You have 23 questions from geometry, plane and coordinate, and they include anything from slope graphing to your shapes and your angles. Then you're left with 4 trig questions, which can be some basic ratio trig questions, all the way to your more difficult trig functions or identities.
So college readiness, what is it? Okay, so basically when you're getting ready to go into college, you're getting ready to take your ACT, they consider a 22 in the math portion college ready. So what do you need to do to make a 22? Okay, so the scoring can be a little bit confusing. Okay, how does it work and how do you make a 22? So in the back of every practice test that you have for the ACT, they have full-length tests that you can actually practice and take. There is a scoring chart, okay? So when we look at the particular math scoring chart, okay, your scale score is going to be over here. So a 22 scale score, and I'm going to zoom in, okay, we can look over here, and it's telling us you need to get about 31 questions right on this particular test. Now, these scoring charts are going to vary for every practice test that you look at. So on some tests, it might say 32 or 33. So overall, you need to make around 30 to 33 questions right on the test in order to have a 22 at the end. Like I said, these can vary. But the bright side of this is that you can get about half the questions right, and you're going to be really close to a 22.
All right, next we're going to talk about some tips, and then we're going to give you a few strategies that we recommend. The first tip that I would suggest is remember that there is no penalty for guessing on the ACT. So answer every question. However, don't just guess randomly. Choose a letter, we call it a pick of the day, and use that throughout your test. Why? Because it helps maximize your chances of getting those unknown questions correct. The next tip that I suggest is to utilize your test information release service, and we call it the TIR. This service gives you a list of your actual test answers, your actual test questions, the actual correct questions, and also a table to convert your raw score on your report. However, you're not allowed to purchase these tests on every test, only in April, June, and December, and it does cost about $22.
Okay, so the next portion that we want to talk about is tips and strategies that you can actually use on the particular problems of the test. So skip the initial instructions. So when I say that, this is this big long paragraph at the very beginning of the math test. Okay, it's going to be the same every single time you look at the test. So if you're really concerned about the instructions, look at them on one of those full-length practice tests. Okay, so it's just time that you're going to waste. So make sure that you skip that. The next tip that we're going to talk about are substituting in answers and testing from the middle.
Okay, on your substituting and testing from the middle, What that basically means is that if you'll notice that your answers are in either least to greatest, or they're going to be labeled in greatest to least. So the tip is to go to your middle value and substitute that in first. So we're going to substitute 11 in for our x in our equation. The math teacher in me wants to go out and solve this by using our elimination and bringing our variables down, but we can quickly substitute in the 11 and add it to the 7 and determine if our exponents on the left side are equal to the exponent on the right side. And of course, we see that we end up with 2 raised to the 29th power, and that is not the same as 2 to the 15th power. So what does that tell me? That tells me that 16 and 44 will not be an option as well because it's too large. So now we have eliminated 3 possibilities and we've narrowed down to a 50-50 chance. So at this point, you're going to go 1 less than, so I would pick 4 and substitute in 4 for my x, leaving me with 2x, or 2 raised to the 15th power equals 2 to the 15th power.
Okay, the next strategy that we want to talk about is using your answers and process of elimination. So a lot of these strategies, you can use one or both. There's many different things that are going to get you to the end. So in this particular problem, normally in a math class, we would use some sort of system of equations, but you might not remember that. So when we look at this problem, it says this month Cammy sold 70 figurines in 2 sizes. The large figurines sold for 12 and the small for 8. The amount of money he received from the sales on the large figurines was equal to the amount of money he received from the sales of the small. How many large did he sell? So first thing you want to know is that these are your large figurines. Okay, one thing that I would say process of elimination wise, we know that the amount of money he receives on the large has to be equal to the amount of money he receives of the small. So if they're different prices, there's no way that the large amount can be equal to the small amount, okay? So if we know this is the large, first let's figure out the possibilities of the smalls. We know that there's a total of 70, so 20 plus something equals 70, 28 plus something equals 70, 35 plus something, so on and so forth. So 20 plus 50, 42, 35. So right off the bat, I'm going to see 35 and 35. That's not an option because if they're different prices, that can't be equal. From there, I notice that the large are a greater amount than the small, okay? So that means you're going to be able to purchase less of the large. So this is not going to be a large number. So I'm going to also eliminate the large this way. So at this point you have 2 options. It's either going to be 28 or 20. At this point I will also start using these actual prices. So I'd say if I had 28 large and they cost $12, that's going to be $336. So for this to be the correct answer, 42 small figurines times $8 has to also equal 336, and it does. So B is your correct answer. All right. Our last question is, and tip, is to skip to the question and use the chart. So we've got a lot of information, but if you notice, the majority of your information is actually in your chart. So the question asks, what should the central angle measure of the core subject sector be? So your core subjects are worth 4 hours. In comparison, everything else, if we add these together, it's equal to 5 hours. So as far as angles go, your core subject hours should be slightly less of an angle than your all the other hours, okay? So, and also, if you know anything about circles, half of a circle is worth 180 degrees. So it's a little less than half, and a little less than half in your answer choices, a little less than 180 is 160.
All right, there are extra resources that you can reach out and contact academy.act.org. ACT.org. They have practice test, ACT question of the day, and also Get to College is a very important resource that not only will help you with test prep resources, but they also help you with reaching out to find scholarships and filling out information for those scholarships. Khan Academy, of course, is a very useful resource.
And it can supplement any skills that you see that you're lacking in. If you were to purchase one of those tests and you see that you're struggling in one area. Several books that are out that might help you are the Princeton Review, Cracking the ACT, and Crash Course for the ACT, and of course the official ACT Prep Guide. There is a mobile app that you can download, and lastly, Preparing for the ACT booklet, and you should be able to obtain one of these from your high school counselors.
Now, it's not only wise to know your tips and strategies, you have to keep in mind that the ACT is 60 questions, 60 minutes. You have one question per minute.
Hi, my name is Robert Garrett. I'm the Director of Technology in the New Albany School District. I'm also the Math Curriculum Coordinator. And real quick, I want to show you a tech tip that I'm going to bring to you each day on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So as many of you have been home and not been able to go to church or school, you've started to join or had people ask you to join things like Zoom or Google Meets. So in today's tech tip, I'm going to show you how to join a Zoom or a Google Meet on both your laptop and your iPhone. So let's get to it. So on your laptop, if you want to join a Google Meet, all you have to do is go to the website meet.google.com. When you get to meet.google.com, there's two ways you can join. The first way is you can click right here where it says join and you can enter the code. The second way would be to just get the link that the person sent to you and just click the link and it'll join you right up on your laptop. Now on your phone, it's even easier. So on your phone, you need the app, the Google Meet app, which is this app right here. And you just want to open the app and then click meeting code right here at the bottom right, meeting code. When you click that, you can enter the meeting code. Now let me show you real quick what the meeting code is. So if I make a meeting, I'm just going to make a sample meeting. The meeting code, when I click join, can be found right here. This is the URL for the meeting, and the meeting code is at the end of the URL, this portion right here. So if I want to join the meeting, all I have to do is type in this TXP, and then I don't even need the dash, ETHRIWC. So on my phone, I can put that in, TXP, ETHRIWC, and click join, and it joins right up to the meeting. Okay, so now the next thing is, how do we join a Zoom? Okay, so Zoom is a little more complicated on the computer. You're going to have to go to the website zoom.us if you've never logged in on a computer. And when you get there, up at the top right, there's a link that says resources, and you can click on download the Zoom client. Now, once you've downloaded the Zoom client, it'll install an app on your computer that looks like this one, and you can click it. When you click it, all you have to do is click where it says Join Meeting and enter the meeting ID. On your phone, it's just as easy. So first you've got to go to the App Store and download the Zoom app. Here's the Zoom app right here. And when you open it, all you have to do is choose Join and put in the meeting ID. It's that simple. So thanks for tuning in for today's Tech Tip. Hope to see you next time.
Hi, my name is Heather Hefner and I teach 6th grade at New Albany Middle School. And today we are going to be talking about coding. So you might be sitting there thinking, well, Ms. Hefner, what exactly is coding? And that is a really great question, and it's a question that I get very often. So coding is really in its basic form using a computer, something like a tablet, or even your cell phone to create something that we call an algorithm. And that might bring you to yet another question. What in the world is an algorithm? Well, an algorithm might seem like a really big word, but it means something pretty simple. An algorithm is when we use step-by-step instructions to complete a specific task. So let's think about something that you do in your everyday life, like brushing your teeth. That might seem like something that's pretty second nature. We get up in the morning or before we go to bed at night, we go to the bathroom, we brush our teeth. We don't really have to think about it. But if you were going to create a robot that you wanted to brush your teeth for you, you would have to think about every single step, and you would have to give that robot step-by-step instructions, which is what we call an algorithm in coding. So let's think about that. If you had your toothpaste and your toothbrush sitting on the bathroom counter, and you wanted to tell your robot to pick them up, you would say, pick up toothbrush and toothpaste. And then you would think logically the next step, put toothpaste on the toothbrush. But what did we miss? There's a top on our toothpaste, and our robot isn't going to know that, so we would have to tell him to take the top off of the toothpaste before he could put the toothpaste on. So when we're talking about coding, we have to make sure that we think about every single specific step. What if we were using an electronic toothbrush? The robot would not automatically know that, so we would have to tell him to turn the toothbrush on. Then what if we forgot to tell him to turn it off? Then we would run into a dead battery issue. So it's very important when you're talking about coding and algorithms that we have very specific steps. When we do turn it into a problem, we call that a bug. Not really this kind of bug. When we come to a problem in computer programming and coding, we have an error, and that is what we call a bug. But when we come to an error in coding, what we have to do is locate the bug, and we have to debug. The reason that I teach and emphasize coding in my classroom is because it's so versatile and there are so many different career fields that my students aren't even aware that it's an option for. So coding can be used not only for computer programming, but it can also be used in engineering, in the medical field, in manufacturing. There are so many options that make coding a great resource. So, if you think you might be interested in coding, here's an activity that you can do. If you would like to follow along with us, you can grab anything like a computer, an iPad or another tablet, or even your phone. Today we're going to be working in a completely free program called code.org, code.org. Code.org is completely free. So you can go to code.org and follow along. Today, you're going to go to the top right corner and you're going to hit Create. Once you go to Create, you're going to go to Dance Party. And today, we're going to see how we can use coding to create an algorithm or those step-by-step instructions to create a virtual dance party. Once you are on your dance party screen, you will have 3 sections. On the very left is what we call the play area or the play space. In the center is our toolbox. This is where you'll be able to access various blocks and you'll be able to create backgrounds for your dance party, foregrounds, dancers, and give them specific dance moves or events you would like them to complete. On the left-hand side, this big open space is what we call our workspace, and that is where you will drag your blocks into. It's very simple. Now, the first thing that you'll want to do is create a name for your project. In the top left-hand corner, you can click Rename, and I'm going to name my dance party Dance Party 101. The reason that you might want to name your dance party is because you might want to share it with your friends and family later. Now, you can use this drop-down menu to select what song you would like for your dance party and your dancers to dance to. There are a lot of options, so you can fit whatever you like. I think for today, I'm going to go with Will I Am, I Like to Move It. First step, you'll want to go to your world blocks. We're going to set our background effect. In the first drop-down, this will choose your color options. We have a cool color tones, electronic colors, ice cream, which are pastel colors. I think I'll go with electronic. And you can also choose if you would like things like a disco ball, diamonds in the background, fireworks or flowers, and I'm going to go with a disco ball today. I would also like to have something fun in my foreground. A foreground is just another layer that will come right in front of the background. So you'll go back to Worlds and you'll use a Set Foreground Effect block. Once you have clicked it in, you can choose what foreground you would like. I am going to choose to use music notes, but there are a lot of options like pineapples, even pizza. So you could have pizza falling from the sky in your virtual dance party. How cool is that? Music notes is what I will use today. Now notice, if I pull this block down, it's shaded. It's not a solid color like this block at the top. And that is because it has that little notch there. Whenever there's a notch, we want to be sure that we connect it to another block, kind of like a puzzle. If we don't connect it, when we click Run and try to run our program, that block will not work. Let me show you. If I click Run, we see that we have our background and our disco ball, but we get an error message. It tells us that we have an unused code. Remember that bug that I talked about, an error in our coding? That's what this is. So to debug or to fix our code, all that we have to do is pull that block back up and click it together. Now when we click Run, we will see both our background and our foreground. Looks like a great start. So now we're ready to add our dancers. We're going to click on Dancers, and I think that I am going to add a new pineapple, and I would like my pineapple to be right in the center of the dance floor. But if you'll notice, it is shaded. So we could click it up here in our setup box, but if we do that, our dancer will show up at the very beginning of the dance party as soon as we click Run. I think I would like the music to run for just a couple of measures first. So what I will do is pull my block down, and then I will go to Events. I can use this green block and tell it to start after 2 measures. Now notice that this green block is completely flat at the top. That means it does not have to be clicked to another block in order for it to work. It will simply start after 2 measures, and at that mark, it will make a new pineapple at the center of the dance floor. Let's see how that looks. Pretty awesome. Now, what if you want some backup dancers? You'll click Dancers again and take this Make New Blank, and you can choose what pattern you would like them to be. If you want them to show up at the same time, you can click them together. If you would like them to show up at a different time, you can add after 4 measures. Now when we click Run, we have a pineapple, and then we have our backup dancers. Pretty cool. So now I would love for you to get on Dance Party and try this out for yourself. Enjoy coding. See you next time.
So on Wednesdays and Fridays we have Hour of Code, and my students log on to code.org, and they are working in Course A to learn how to computer program. They are learning how to problem solve. They're posed with a problem and they have to figure out the steps in which they're going to need to take to solve the problem. It's also great for following directions and not giving up, figuring out where the bug is in their computer program and going back and fixing that bug and then rerunning it to make their code. I was not a computer science major by any means, but I was watching 60 Minutes one day and they had this interview with the man who invented code.org, and they were talking about how there's millions of jobs literally every year that go unfulfilled by computer programmers, and also how females are not in computer programming. So as I was watching it, they talked about this code.org website, and it's just very kid-friendly. And I did a training over the summer that helped me how to just facilitate the kids using the website. I know enough to help them figure it out. The training that we did it was a full day, it was 7 hours, and once I had the training, they have plugged and unplugged lessons. My kids definitely prefer the plugged in lessons because they are learning through playing games. But it was very easy to implement in my classroom. Basically, I just logged them on, and there's little videos along the way for each lesson that my kids do. And if they need to go back because they didn't understand something, they'll just go back and watch the video, and then they'll continue on with the program.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. I'd like to thank all of our outstanding teachers in the New Albany School District for the great job they're doing. I also like to thank all of our parents and our students for supporting their children in this quest to ensure that virtual learning takes place.
All of us at New Albany School District would also like to thank WTVA for providing us with this opportunity and reaching out and allowing us to have this time to bring this virtual school to you. We'd like for you to join us every Tuesday and Thursday from 9:30 to 10. Have a great day.